Today, I am going to explain a South Korean romantic comedy film called I'm a Cyborg, but that's okay. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Young-goon is a young woman working in a factory that constructs radios. Long ago, her grandmother was institutionalized because of her mental illness. She believed she was a mouse and only ate radishes for months. After seeing her grandmother being taken away by the hospital staff, Young-goon developed a hatred for doctors. She calls them white ones and still seeks revenge on them. With time, Young-goon also got delusional and started to believe that she is a cyborg. One day, at work, her obsession grows so much that she cuts her wrist and connects it with a power cord to a wall outlet in an attempt to recharge herself. Because of the act, she is admitted to a mental institution. The place is filled with an eclectic menagerie of patients. Young-goon's doctor, Choi Sil-gi, doesn't know how to go about treating Young-goon because of her unique case. On her first day in the institution, Young-goon is welcomed by the nurse, Oh Sol-mi. She introduces Young-goon to all of the patients, explaining their illnesses to her. Throughout the tour, Young-goon doesn't say anything. When Dr. Choi stops Sol-mi, we get to know that she is also a patient who has a condition called mythomania. She lies about everything to make up for her memory loss. Young-goon doesn't talk to anyone the entire day. But at midnight, she walks through the hallways and talks to the lights and machines. She believes that she should only communicate with machines and electrical appliances, since she is one of them. She tells them exaggerated stories, asks them questions, and gets genuinely angry when they do not reply. While chatting with a vending machine, she asks for tea. A patient named Park Il-soon puts a coin in the machine so Young-goon wouldn't be disappointed. Il-soon is hospitalized for antisocial behavior and kleptomania. Because of his condition, he is unable to resist the urge to steal. Nice of him to pay for that tea. The other patients believe he can steal their attributes and often blame him for theft. Il-soon is fascinated with Young-goon and her ability to talk to inanimate objects. During meal breaks, Young-goon licks batteries, thinking that it will recharge her. She also refuses to eat real food. A fellow patient, Gob Dan, takes advantage of this and eats everything from her plate. Every night, Young-goon obsessively listens to her tube radio for instruction on how to become a better cyborg. She makes the light bulbs around her listen to the instructions as well. Dr. Choi often organizes group discussion sessions where all the patients get to talk about their week. In one of such sessions, a patient named Yun Yun accuses Il-soon of stealing his ability to play ping pong. Gob Dan also claims that he stole her appetite last month. She couldn't eat anything for 2 entire days until he gave it back. Similarly, all the patients complain about Il-soon stealing their attributes. In reality, Il-soon can only steal objects. The patients hallucinate him stealing their attributes because of their illness. Young-goon is fascinated by his ability to steal. Later, she hears him say that he has stolen Thursday from the week. To make sure, Young-goon checks her underwear box and indeed finds Thursday's underwear missing. She wants Il-soon to steal her sympathy so she would be able to kill the white ones and take revenge for her grandmother. Starting that day, she follows Il-soon everywhere. She wants him to notice her because she is too scared to talk to humans. A flashback shows us how Young-goon came out like a cyborg to her mother. Her mother simply asked her if she also felt like eating radishes, fearing that she might have gotten her grandmother's disease. She ordered Young-goon to never tell anyone about her being a cyborg, to hide the fact that she is crazy. She was dismissive of Young-goon's illness, which made it even worse. Back in the present, the tube radio asks her to get rid of her sympathy as soon as possible and take revenge on the white ones. In the meantime, Il-soon targets an overly polite man and decides to steal his politeness. He follows the polite guy around the hospital as Young-goon follows them both. Eventually, Il-soon steals his personality, making him act rude to the hospital staff. After witnessing the change in Il-soon, Young-goon is now sure of his abilities. She asks him to steal her sympathy, but Il-soon says it is not possible. For him to be able to steal someone's attribute, the person he is stealing from must hate it. Since Young-goon is offering him her sympathy, he cannot steal it. Moreover, the stealing process is a lengthy one, as he has to monitor the victim constantly for a few days. Young-goon consents to Il-soon monitoring her. Starting the next day, he follows her everywhere and notes down her daily routine. He notices that she always wears her grandmother's dentures while talking to her machine friends. Hence, he steals them and tries talking to the vending machine. Young-goon notices the missing dentures and freaks out. In the next group session, he tries to put them back into her bag, but Young-goon catches him and beats him for stealing them. That night, the two meet in a secret place, where Il-soon steals her sympathy. Following that, she imagines going on a rampage to kill all of the hospital staff. Her hands turn into guns and kill everyone who comes in her way. But soon, her battery runs out and she falls unconscious. On investigating, Dr. Choi finds out that she has barely been eating anything and has been licking batteries. The doctor asks Gob-dan to let everyone eat their own meal and not trouble them. That night, Gob-dan tries rubbing her socks together to create energy and fly away to a place where she will get better food. Beside her, Young-goon lies in her bed, unable to move because of weakness. The following day, Il-soon is with the girl who lies, Sul-mi. He tells her that his parents were always fighting and never took care of him. He felt as though he was invisible to them. Hence, he started to steal things, so people would notice him, even though it was for a bad cause. He believes that his illness will go away in the next 40 to 50 years. He deliberately admitted himself to the institution because he didn't want to end up in prison. After he completes telling her the story, Sul-mi asks him why he opened up to her instead of the other patients. Il-soon says that she is getting shock therapy today, so she is bound to forget everything he said anyway. Dr. Choi calls Young-goon's mother to tell her about her condition. They want to give her shock therapy so she would start eating. The mother permits them to do anything to make her daughter better. Young-goon goes through shock therapy that she enjoys thoroughly, believing that it charges her. When she opens her eyes, she sees her grandmother by her side. She promises that she will be ruthless and kill all the white ones soon. After waking up, she feels like she has been born again. With a full charge, she imagines herself turning into an actual cyborg and killing all of the hospital staff. After going on a rampage and killing almost everyone, she wakes up in the stabilizing room. It turns out that the doctors are keeping her there to feed her through tubes, since she still refuses to eat real food. Il-soon gets worried for her and tells everyone to go on a hunger strike, asking the doctors to let her out. When that doesn't work, he runs into the stabilizing room, protesting for her right to not eat anything. Before the workers can drag him out, he secretly hands Young-goon a string telephone so they can communicate later. That night, they use the phone through the window and talk to each other. Il-soon hands her Gob-dan's magic socks, which she uses to fly in the air in her imagination. As they talk, Young-goon imagines them being in a field on a sunny day. When asked why she cannot eat food, she tells him that cyborgs will die if they eat human food. Her grandmother arrives, tied to a string that she cannot remove. Young-goon apologizes to her for being too sympathetic. Her grandmother tries to say something about the true motive of her life, but the string pulls her away before she can complete her sentence. The following day, Young-goon's mother comes to inform her of her grandmother's death. She even gives her a bit of the old woman's ashes, thinking that Young-goon would appreciate it. When she finds out that Young-goon has told Il-soon about her being a cyborg, she is furious with her daughter. She strictly asks her to keep a secret from everyone else and leaves. Following the encounter, Young-goon buries her grandmother's dentures, a computer mouse, and the ashes to say goodbye to her. While she cries, mourning her death, Il-soon consoles her. The two end up kissing, but right after, Young-goon falls unconscious because of weakness. She is on the verge of dying, but still refuses to eat. Dr. Choi tries to make her reveal the reason, but since she has been told not to tell anyone about her being a cyborg, she keeps her mouth shut. Il-soon is worried for her, so he creates a device out of his mother's last picture. Following that, he shows the device to Young-goon, claiming that it turns human food into energy for cyborgs. He pretends to insert it inside of Young-goon's back, asking her to continue eating food now. The next morning, he asks the lady from the canteen to make the food extra delicious. He then teaches Young-goon how to eat rice. Everyone watches as she takes her first bite. Young-goon looks at her stomach and imagines the rice turning into energy using the device. Il-soon hugs her, relieved that she will be okay. Later that day, he buries his mother's picture alongside Young-goon's grandmother's stuff. He doesn't want her to find out that he lied about the device. In her next one-on-one session with Dr. Choi, Young-goon tells her that she and her grandmother used to be best friends. However, her parents didn't like the way they lived. The day her grandmother was taken away by the White Ones, she followed the ambulance on her bike for as long as she could. She remembers that her grandmother was trying to tell her about the true motive of her life, but she could only see her lips moving. Dr. Choi sympathizes with Young-goon and hugs her. She finally reveals to the doctor that she is a cyborg, which is why she was refusing to eat all of this time. Dr. Choi now understands her illness way better than she did before. The two eat chocolate after Young-goon promises to tell her everything. In the following scene, Young-goon and Il-soon are trying to decipher what her grandmother was trying to say when they last saw her. At last, they make up a sentence that vaguely says Young-goon has to blow herself up with 1 billion volts of electricity. Since it was her grandmother's wish, Young-goon makes it her mission to explode. When it rains the next time, she and Il-soon go out to a field, so 1 billion volts of electricity can strike her. Young-goon has an antenna with her that she hopes will attract lightning. They put up a tent to wait for lightning, but it is blown away by the wind in the middle of the night. To save their food and supplies from rain, they quickly cover everything. Il-soon, hearing Young-goon's complaints about the opened wine collecting rain, plugs it with his little finger. The missing cork is atop the antenna, so the lightning wouldn't actually hit Young-goon. Il-soon put it there to protect her, without discouraging her. In the end, they watch the sunrise together. Subscribe for more videos like this.